The story starts with a TV host introducing a young performer named Reef, a kid who just landed the lead in an NBC pilot after blowing everyone away at his audition. Reef walks out onto that stage and absolutely goes for it, belting out a Broadway classic, like he's been doing it his whole life. Pure showmanship, pure confidence, the crowd goes absolutely nuts. Fast forward a few decades and Reef is now America's favorite movie star. Like the guy, an interviewer is heaping praise on him. 2 Oscars. Massive franchises. The whole thing. But backstage, away from all the cameras, Reef quietly pulls his 2 best friends aside and asks them a very simple, very stressful question. How do I explain away 5 years of my life without telling anyone the truth? They all agree. Hide the heroin addiction. Don't mention it. Don't hint at it. His friends call it a smart omission. Give him a confidence boost and send him back out there like nothing's wrong. But here's where it gets a little awkward. The interviewer catches Reef backstage and admits that Reef is his all-time favorite actor. Sweet moment, right? Except Reef immediately gets nervous and asks, almost begs the interviewer to remember to mention his 2-time Oscar winner title during the intro.
Would you mind not forgetting to say 2-time Oscar winner before you say Reef?
Of course, I was planning on doing that anyway. I thought it was something serious. Of course, man. Oh, that's
yeah, I mean, I would never even say it. It's just that
the interviewer swears up and down he would never forget something that important. Reef's friends introduce themselves to the crew as his old high school buddies. The interview starts, and then the Oscar mention gone. Completely forgotten, Reef pretends he doesn't care. He waves it off, tells the audience to keep rolling, and insists he'd never be that guy. The out-of-touch jerk who shuts everything down over an award. Everyone buys it. Afterward, his friend CK comes up with a new term for what Reef just did. He calls it moping, short for man of the peopling. Solid branding, honestly. But before anyone can enjoy the moment, Reef completely spirals. He starts panicking about the crew members. What if they go online and call him fake? What if someone tweets something? He warns his friends that being constantly watched is a disaster just waiting to happen. His friends tell him to breathe, just breathe, and Reef, to his credit, catches himself. He apologizes for the anxiety, blames the stress of the whole situation, and pulls both of his best friends into this big, tight, emotionally overwhelmed group hug. And just as things start to settle down, Reef's lawyer, Ira, calls, screaming. There's a total nightmare arriving tomorrow morning, and Ira is not calm about it. The story picks back up with Reef asking Ira if he has something on his face, and Ira says yes, just yes. Reef is mortified, he's embarrassed, but then he snaps back to the real issue and demands to know about this mysterious video that's apparently threatening his entire career. Ira reminds him that the world has changed. This isn't the old days anymore. You can't just hand someone a briefcase full of cash and make a problem quietly disappear. Things are different now. Then Ira offers his phone line available 24 hours a day, except on mysterious Tuesdays.
You can text me or call me 24 hours a day, just like the old days, except for Tuesdays from 3 p.m. till about 10 p.m.
What's on Tuesdays?
Personal shit, don't worry about it.
Reef follows Ira into the bathroom for their meeting, because apparently that's where serious conversations happen now. Ira gets dead serious, looks Reef straight in the eyes, and demands complete honesty. Zero secrets then, he asks. With full sincerity, if Reef has ever killed anyone. Reef says no, Ira's assistant. Sammy quietly slips out to find better toilet paper because priorities. Ira keeps pushing with these increasingly wild interrogation questions, telling Reef to turn around, maintain eye contact, and answer every single thing. Reef eventually snaps and fires back. No.
I have never killed someone!
Which makes Ira visibly uncomfortable. Apparently, too much emotion is suspicious. Then Ira shifts gears completely. He starts asking about something involving Mel Gibson, poppers, and a Weekend at Bernie's situation, with an actual corpse. And then just like that, he gets serious and asks the real question, who hates Reef? Names 2 people, his childhood manager and his ex-girlfriend, Savannah. Sammy, however, has a list, a devastating list. Trainers, pool guys, shelter dogs, Reef's own mother, and then a separate, equally massive list of angry directors and executives who apparently have not forgiven Reef for various things. Reef tries to object. His old trainer actually passed away, so that one shouldn't count. Ira is unmoved. The plan, Reef needs to visit all these people and apologize strategically. He needs to fake sincerity while quietly figuring out who leaked the video. Classic. Then Ira rushes off to deal with a Tom Hanks housekeeper situation, which honestly sounds like its own movie, and leaves Reef alone with Sammy. Reef looks at her and asks quietly if he really was that awful to everyone. Sammy doesn't sugarcoat it. She tells him yes, his success went to his head for years. And the drug days? Terrifying? She brings up the heroin doll store, the naked baby dolls, having to explain them to the housekeeper in Spanish. She says she never ever wants to see that darkness in his eyes again. Meanwhile, Savannah tries to get Reef focused. Follow Ira's plan. Make the apologies. She starts building a playlist for what she's now calling their crisis road trip and jokes about keeping things fun and, well, interesting. As they drive, Savannah admits she hates extortion, but she kind of loves that it brought them back together. It feels like high school all over again. She pulls out fake cigarettes and makes fun of kids who vape. Reef, however, is already panicking about being late to his first apology. Insisting showing up late makes him look like an even bigger jerk. At a restaurant booth, Red Rodriguez, Reef's old childhood manager, is sitting across from a young actor, telling him the story of how he discovered Reef Hawk at this very table. Before he can finish, the young actor bolts for a Valtra commercial callback, leaving Red sitting there alone. Mid-story, Red sighs, straightens up, and proudly announces he's been off cigarettes for 16 days. Then Reef walks in. Reef tells Red he came to apologize. Red asks what exactly Reef is sorry for. Reef says he's sorry for firing him. Red goes quiet for a moment, then starts talking. He remembers meeting young Reef by the pool, no front teeth, this incredible light just radiating off him. But then Hollywood happened, the clubs, the rumors about harder stuff. Red says he wanted to shake sense into Reef back then but didn't know how. He admits he knows he's a joke to most of his former clients now, but Reef was different. Reef was like family. And what still hurts, really hurts, is that none of them ever called him back. He gets emotional. All he ever wanted was to pick up the phone and hear, "Hey, Red." Reef's response, "I didn't even have your number." Red writes it down and hands it over. Then a fan crashes the moment, absolutely buzzing about some wild night doing ecstasy with Reef and Sean Penn in Sydney years ago. The vibe instantly shattered. Later, outside a house, a loud neighbor named Buddy introduces himself, brags about his McLaren, promises celebrity sightings and rap parties, and somehow doesn't notice his wife in the background complaining that someone's car is blocking both parking spots. Reef then arrives at a neighbor's Malibu home, where a young soon-to-be father proceeds to brag about his lifestyle, mock Reef's age, and then just casually call him queef to his face. He also tells Reef he's lucky to have no kids. Real charmer. Sitting nearby, Sammy is reading a Holocaust memoir. She pauses to compare her parents' divorce to a personal Holocaust out loud, shamelessly, and then hands the book to Reef and tells him to stop hiding from himself. Ira calls in a panic about lost sunglasses, then admits he's joking, then drops genuinely devastating news. The situation is bad. Reef needs to keep apologizing, and there's no shortcut out of this. Reef asks Sammy if she can just pretend everything is fine for 1 minute. She asks if she should act like nothing is happening. Reef tells her he just needs one person in his life who acts normal. Just one. Next stop, Reef's mother. She's filming her reality show. Reef tries. He really tries to deliver a heartfelt apology on camera, but the producer keeps interrupting because the product label isn't facing the right direction. So Reef watches his own mother choose content over connection, right in front of him. He snaps. He calls her behavior triggering and deeply messed up. She fires back and calls him a truffle-sniffing fame piggy. Reef insists he only ever chased fame to make her happy. She hits back hard. She uprooted her entire life, moved them across the country so little Reef could audition every single day, and sacrificed her marriage when his father walked out on both of them. She reminds him what it felt like to watch his dream come true on The Tonight Show. He got everything he wanted as a child. Reef says kids don't actually know what they want, and he tells her she stopped seeing him, the real him, the moment fame arrived. She pauses, then she says he's right, she's sorry, and then immediately asks the crew to reshoot her reaction differently, which kind of proves his point entirely. But then she pushes back on him too, asking if apologies aren't also performances, saying the camera rolling doesn't make her feelings less real. She tells him she's accepted who she is and she's not changing, and she's not asking him to either. Our story rolls on as Reef's mother tells him to stop trying to fix her. Back at Reef's place, his roommates joke around about a dog. One complains about feeling sick after moving furniture, and another teases her about possibly being pregnant from a run-in with a homeless guy. She fires back that her age makes that biologically impossible. Someone asks Reef what his mom was wearing on her show, and Reef just quietly murmurs, "It's not about her anymore." Then Ira calls come to the office. Now, Ira dramatically unveils what he's calling the Reef Hawk Crisis Team. First up, Virginia Allen Green, legendary women's rights attorney. Reef immediately asks why someone who defends abuse victims is representing him. Ira insists he hired Virginia as a precaution. Virginia assures Reef she wouldn't have taken a Me Too case. Moving on. Next, Ira introduces Reverend Leandris Carter with flair. Leon immediately cuts Ira off, telling him to shut up about past disasters, because Ira then casually reveals that he and Leon once invented the Jussie Smollett hoax together. Leon erupts, calling Ira an idiot for hiring black men as supremacists. Ira defends himself by pointing out that he posted a black square online. Crisis averted. Apparently, Reef desperately asks Leon why he even joined the team. Leon leans in and tells Reef he better not have said a slur on that video. Then a new voice speaks up in Eunice Kim, Asian rights activist, who asks Reef about a scene from an old comedy where his character dressed up as a geisha to sneak into a sorority. She warns him that someone is planning to weaponize that scene to cancel him entirely. Reef insists it was just a character. Ira dismisses that defense before Reef can finish the sentence. Back home, Reef's girlfriend CK gently points out that this whole apology tour sounds a lot like the recovery steps he never actually finished. She tells him he needs to make amends to the people his addiction hurt, not just the people on Ira's list. Reef sits with that for a long, heavy moment, then whispers this is hard and admits quietly that he knows he needs to do it. The story continues as Reef admits the apology to her is absolutely brutal to get out, but tells CK he's ready to face Savannah next. Back inside the house, CK and her partner process the whole awkward visit between themselves. Someone Googles something on their phone in a moving car. An article describes Reef Hawk as a beloved movie star. Visual Reef stands nervously on Savannah's front porch. Savannah opens the door, calls him annoying, but lets him in. And once he's standing there, she admits that seeing him still reminds her of that goofy kid lighting fireworks behind the mall. She tells him she always liked him best in those quiet, private moments, not the Hollywood version of him. Reef notices children's shoes on the porch. Savannah confirms she has kids now. She says she hopes they make better choices than he ever did. Reef looks her in the eye and sincerely apologizes for letting her down. Savannah pauses, takes a breath, and then tells him he is not a good person. She says she wasted years of her life on him, that everything was always about Reef. She guesses that Xander and Kyle never delivered this kind of brutal honesty to him. She tells him he never sticks around for real conversations, that after everything that happened between them, she finally found a man who actually loves her, who shows up for her, and she realized that Reef only ever used her as a distraction between movies. She once thought confronting him would feel satisfying. It doesn't. Her kids are what make her happy now, then Ira calls, urgently. Reef needs to come back to the office right now in the conference room. Ira puts the blackmailer on speakerphone. The caller immediately clocks that Virginia and Leandris are in the room. He's been watching. He then drops the bomb. He's been secretly renting the house next door to Reef for months. He offers Reef the first chance to buy the footage himself, then reveals what exactly is on the video and exactly how much he wants for it, $15 million by Tuesday morning, or it all goes public. Reef watches the footage in horror. The leaked video plays one word over and over, and Reef says very quietly that this is the actual worst moment of his life. Ira tries to spin it, tries to find the angle, tries to argue that even Reef Hawk himself proves his completely ridiculous point. It falls flat, spectacularly, and then Reef just breaks. He screams. Genuinely screams that he has been careful his entire career. He has been so careful. So why is this happening to him now? Ira catches something in what Reef just said, a detail. He flags it. Virginia steps in and walks Reef through something she calls victim capitalism. She explains it like this. Reef once dreamed of becoming famous through genuine talent, hard work, real skill, but somewhere along the way, people got exhausted by having to earn recognition. And then the Kardashians arrived and ushered in a whole new era. Attention as currency, phones as platforms, dopamine as the goal, until eventually being a victim became the fastest route to fame and money. Then she tells Reef he's a unicorn because he's a real victim. The team agrees. A live interview done right puts Reef in the sympathetic seat before any footage can leak. He gets ahead of it. He controls the story. Ira tells Reef to sit with all of this tonight. Let it sink in. Reef tells Ira he has a really strange job, just waiting for catastrophes to land on his desk. Ira gets reflective for a second. He thinks about why Reef kept making the same choices over and over. Then he says something honest that real life hit Ira, like a freight train too. But he always picks up when Reef calls, no matter what. Then Ira's son, Buddy, shows up late, blaming traffic with a friend in tow. Ira introduces him to Reef Hawk warmly. Buddy immediately asks Reef if he has a girlfriend. Ira jokes they should be wingmen, keep their options open. Buddy looks at Reef and with complete sincerity tells him not to do alcohol or say yes to crack. Ira scolds him for repeating that, then loads everyone into the car. The story continues as Reef says his goodbyes to Buddy outside. But on the way to his car in the parking garage, a stranger approaches his vehicle and casually calls out his name. Then, out of nowhere, brings up Reef's father. Mentions that he hanged himself and compares it to something from a novel she's currently reading. Like it's nothing, like it's small talk. Back inside, CK says what everyone's been thinking, doing a live tell-all interview, and positioning himself as a victim sounds genuinely reckless. But Reef says he can't just walk away from everything he's built. CK suggests they sell it all and move to Hawaii. Start over Reef. Snaps. Asks her if she thinks something is wrong with him. CK tries to calm him down, but he explodes. Says questioning his sobriety is the same as calling him a fraud. CK doesn't flinch. She tells him never to curse at her, then asks him straight out if he is actually solid in his sobriety because he has that look in his eyes again. That dangerous one. She tells him she'd rather deal with all his tantrums than find him unconscious on the floor. She reminds him she once genuinely thought he was dead. Reef tells her coldly that his sobriety is stronger than steel, then mocks her Hawaii idea, the smoothie stand, the fresh start, and says he doesn't have the energy to pretend to relate to that version of life. CK says she hopes he gets everything he wants, more fame, more money, all of it. Then says she loves her own life because she's free. She tells him to go apologize to his best friends. When Reef asks Xander why he's still even there, Xander says he already ordered food on the app, and that's that. Then Reef really asks him why he's stayed his friend through all of it. Xander thinks back, says everyone in high school used to say the worst things about him. But 10th grade Reef told him he'd only ever stop being his friend if Xander refused to be himself because that would actually hurt. Xander says when Reef acts like a mess, he just remembers that kid instead. Our story moves forward as Reef steps out of a building onto the street, carrying about 700 pounds of emotional weight from everything that's happened. Inside the studio, Drew greets him warmly for the interview, telling him she's been thinking about their parallel lives, how when they were kids, neither of them really understood why they were doing any of it. Then Drew admits she never actually liked Reef, found him smug, but then Virginia told her what was really going on, and Drew did a complete 180, calling Reef a hero for being willing to share his story publicly, and then Reef announces he's leaving. Drew panics, the countdown hits 30 seconds to air. She is begging him to stay. Reef apologizes and walks out. Drew explodes backstage, threatening to destroy every single one of them on air. Ira intercepts Reef in the hallway with shocking news. It worked. Just threatening to do the interview was enough to make the blackmailer cave. Ira got the price slashed from $15 million all the way down to $35,000. Done. Over Reef hesitates, says he doesn't know if he wants to pay. Ira stares at him, tells him to just pay it. It's basically a forerunner. Reef calls it a cosmic tax, gets in his car, and drives away alone. He sits behind the wheel, processing quiet, looking straight ahead through the windshield. A kid wearing headphones stands on a sidewalk nearby. Neither of them moves for a moment. Later, Reef is online, talking to a young fan. She tells him this whole conversation feels surreal. She can't believe a movie star is talking to her from a hotel room like a normal person. She asks if he has a wife or kids somewhere. Reef admits quietly that he always chose his career. Every single time, he always picked whatever felt bigger or more important in the moment. She tells him that's really sad, then casually offers to show him her body. Outside, Reef steps up to someone who tells him he has kind eyes. He asks for just 2 minutes. Then he tells this person he's been rehearsing what he'd say if he ever got this chance. He asks if they hate him, they say no. They love him, but admit they're just broken inside. Reef pours out everything. The shame, the guilt, everything he put them through. He tells them they are his whole life. And then he says something he hasn't said in a long, long time. It's not about me anymore. He says he's sorry. They forgive each other. They hold on tight. And Reef says he loves them. And for maybe the first time in years, he actually feels it land. The peace he's been running toward finally finds him standing still. Meanwhile, Reef picks up the phone and calls Red Rodriguez. Not for any reason, just to ask how his day is going. Red immediately gets suspicious, demands to know Reef's angle, and asks what he wants. Reef just says he genuinely wants to know how Red is doing. That's it. Red softens. He says he's just hanging out. Nothing crazy going on. Just a regular day, 2 men. 1 phone call, quiet and honest, no cameras, no crisis, no agenda. Reef is back home, checking his phone with sunlight coming through the window. He's okay. He sips his coffee on the patio and smiles like a person who just put something down that he's been carrying for a very, very long time. Then on a special edition of The Drew Barrymore Show, because apparently the universe has a sense of humor, Xander Alexander introduces himself to Drew as her biggest fan. He announces with complete confidence that he is there today to take the emotional load off Drew for once. And then without missing a beat, he admits he has never seen E.T. in his life. He describes it as a movie about kids taking a bald Jewish man on a bicycle ride. He says he's only ever watched Call Me By Your Name in The Notebook. Honestly, fair, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. See you in the next video.